Okay, here we have 5.5, solving a rational equation that simplifies to a linear with denominator x plus a. So we're going to do the same thing as we did before in the previous topic. Hopefully you watched the video for the previous topic. But to find the LCD, we're going to put the common factors first and then the distinct factors next. And remember, you only list these once. Okay, so my first denominator is actually a 1. My second denominator is a w plus 7. So what do they have in common? If they don't have anything else in common, you can write this and then there's an imaginary 1 in front, right? So if they don't have anything in common or you can't identify it, it's usually 1 if everything looks different. Then the distinct factor would be, although this one has a coefficient of 1 in front of this factor, this first denominator does not have the w plus 7. So w plus 7 would be my distinct factor, which means if I multiply this together, w plus 7 is the LCD. So what do I do with that? I take the first fraction and I multiply it by w plus 7 over 1. Then I take the second fraction and I multiply it by w plus 7 over 1. And then we reduce. So here these will reduce. On the left hand side of the equation, nothing will reduce. So I end up with 5w plus 7. And since everything is over 1, you don't need to write the fraction. And here I would be left with the 6, but over 1 is just going to be 6. And then how do you solve this resulting equation? The first thing I would have to do is distribute, getting the equation negative 5w minus 35 equal to 6, and then add over my 35, and I get negative 5w equal to 41, and then divide by the coefficient, negative 5. We get w equals, this does not simplify, so it's just negative 41 over 5. Now again, whenever we find a solution, we may have done everything correctly, but this may still just be not a solution. You know, it's what we found, but it is not a solution. So right now, what we call a potential solution. So when you solve the equation and you do everything right along the way, the responses that you get are potential solutions. They don't become actual solutions until you've decided whether or not they're going to work in the equation. And how do we know if they're going to work in the equation? The only thing we need to check is to make sure that those potential solutions do not make any of the denominators 0. This denominator is 1. It doesn't matter what w is, it's 1. So this denominator is not going to equal 0. This denominator does have a w in it. And if I were to plug in negative 41 over 5, I would get a fraction as an answer, but I wouldn't get 0 as the denominator. So as long as this does not make this denominator 0, this answer is an actual solution. And I can type it into the computer.